Safety is always a concern when you are traveling abroad or to any given country.
As you may know, we've spent over 2 years in Colombia, most of our time in Bogota, and we're currently jumping through other Latin American countries and cities.
The U.S. Department of State has classified Colombia as level 3 of 4 for reconsider travel.
But Whitney and Johnny, the life theory couple, have classified it as what are you waiting for?
Recent events in Bogota, Colombia have ignited a stigmatism of fear of traveling to Colombia, and we're gonna discuss a couple of those later in the video.
So, should you be concerned? Yes. But should that stop you from going? No, absolutely not.
Not all places are equal in the world, but your level of caution and protocol should remain the same, even if it's a safe place to go.
If you ask the internet for advice, they would always tell you to use your common sense. But what is common sense? Let's be honest, common sense is not always the same for every people and every culture. So we're going to break down what common sense is, because this ain't a town in Nebraska.
So let's tell you about this common sense. Well, we film it here in the beautiful city of Lima, Peru. The surfing is ginormous here. Look at all the surfers on a Saturday morning.
I want to do it, but they go so far, I'm afraid.
I think we're gonna do it.
Let's talk about street rules. When it comes to jewelry, stay classy, not flashy.
You do not want to wear anything that is really blingy or gaudy looking, because that's going to just draw attention. I mean, that's what that jewelry is designed to do. So large watches, diamonds, gold, anything that is really shiny is going to be something that is going to catch the eye of a robber, and they're going to see that instantly, and you're going to become a target in an instant. So you do not want to wear any jewelry the first time you go to any Latin American country or city before you get an idea of what the area is actually like.
Avoid empty streets, just like this one. If you're not familiar with the area, take an Uber or a taxi to get familiar with the area and with the behavior of the people. Observe the way people are acting on the street, their mannerisms. As you can see in this video, we've seen plenty of people with their dogs, running with their devices, and there seems to be a sense of safety in the area.
One of the cues to look for is if you see people holding on to their possessions very tightly in an area, that kind of gives you an indication that the area is probably not very safe, especially if you see them wearing the backpack in the front like this. That tells you, okay, this area, you may need to be a little more cautious. Another thing I know that we look for is to see how the people are moving throughout the area, whether they are walking super fast, they have a sense of urgency, whether or not they are slowing down and enjoying the space. If they're not slowing down and enjoying the space, that probably means that that area has a lot of traffic and it's more prone to robbery. So you kind of want to just be very heightenedly aware of that.
Hey, I'm a native Bogotana and I broke my own rules, and the day that I did, I got robbed. I went for a walk on an empty street at 3 p.m. A guy on a motorcycle came up to me asking for directions, and I decided to help him. While I was helping him, he showed me a gun on his fanny pack and he asked me for everything that I had. Fortunately, the only thing that I had was my burner phone, but it was really scary. I had never been confronted to that situation, and I had no idea how I was going to react.
Bags and loose items. I'm actually being quite casual today with my item just on one shoulder like this, but I normally do not walk like that. It's usually I have both strapped to me, and I usually have one hand on it or something. When it gets more crowded, I become way more cautious. I end up putting this in the front of myself, and I kind of put my hand over the zippers just because there's just too many people moving around, and I make sure everything I have is inside my bag. and not in like a pocket, because that is when people will typically rob you. Is a situation will occur, a breakout, and then they'll slip their hand into your pocket and steal your stuff. And so like I try to make sure that everything, the more crowded it gets, the more like protective I become, especially if I feel like that's what I'm seeing a lot of other people do. What is this?
There's been there's been a ton of security in this neighborhood.
See?
I saw a car, security car, yeah. And now, do not use your phone while on the street. I know it may seem hypocritical because we're doing it just now, but we have scouted this area plenty of times before deciding to record this video. Also, we see a lot of people using their devices on the street, and we see quite a few security guards on every single corner. So we feel pretty safe to do so.
Another general street rule is to walk closer to the homes or the shops when you're out and about. That does get difficult, such as the example of this street. It's not a very big sidewalk, but some of the sidewalks are much larger. And the reason why you want to do that is in case you see something fishy, you can kind of just jump into a store and get yourself to safety if you see something fishy. So that's just a general rule to be mindful of in large cities.
When possible, walk against incoming traffic so you can pay attention to motorcycles or bicycles approaching you that could take an opportunity to snatch your items.
We're noticing as we're going out here recording our safety tips that this neighborhood is incredibly safe. There are like security guards on almost every single corner. So this is like a perfect opportunity for us to just let you know about the safety tips. But again, we walked this multiple times without our phones before deciding, okay, we can actually come out here with our phones and feel relatively safe. Plus it's a really, really nice area of Lima. I mean, we're right next to the coast where the cliff is. The cliff is like right there, and then it's the beach.
Yeah, just looking at the homes, you can get like an idea of how, like the wealth that there is in this area and how safe it feels.
I mean, there's a Volkswagen right there parked on the street. That's a telltale sign that it's safe. There are plenty of people here, bicycling, even women running by themselves, exercising. There are plenty of birds chirping. That's how you know it's safe. The birds chirping.
Let's talk about public spaces rules with Mafalda. Okay, Mafalda, why nobody has stolen your bow? What are you doing to stay safe? But not really. Let's be serious. When in public spaces, use your bag in the front and make sure that it is tight. This is why I love my mochila, because I can tie it and no one is going to put their hands in there to try and get my stuff. I always try to wear it in the front when in public spaces, especially if it's crowded. But when I feel more comfortable, I can try to put it on the side or on the back. That rarely happens because I feel way more comfortable seeing my stuff and making sure that it is secure.
Disclaimer, that mochila is so tight sometimes I can't even get stuff out of there. She'll ask me to get stuff out of there and I can't even get my hand in it, and then I get frustrated and mad.
I make a ton of knots that it's like really impossible.
It's like, it feels impossible.
Open it.
It's where she hides all her secrets. Here's another tip. Do not leave things loosely in your pockets. As you can see, a lot of girls and a lot of people just wear their phones loosely. And this is exactly what a thief wants you to do in a public space. This is exactly what you should not do. I know in the US that's very common. Can't be doing that in Latin America. Not whatsoever.
Just like you keep your things stowed away in the plane, keep your things stowed away when in public spaces. Put it in your bag.
Not all dining situations are equal, but if you are next to a busy road and in a dining situation that is more open to any of the passing by traffic, especially if there's motorcycles, because they're the ones doing the robbing, typically, you want to make sure that your stuff is on your lap and that you are keeping it there or attached to your person somehow while you are dining. Or attached to your chair. I have a clips on my bag so that I can clip it to a chair so that somebody can't just snatch it and walk away with it. Now, however, you know, we know in the US, lots of people, they'll be dining and like talking with their friends and they having, in the next chair next to them, their purse or something, that you can't be doing that. You got to stop doing that. That is like a big no-no. That's exactly what the thieves want you to do. So don't put yourself in that situation. Take responsibility of your stuff, put it in your lap, or attach it to your person somehow. The apartments here are absolutely gorgeous. You can see the ocean right here. And look at this balcony up here. Let me just zoom in here. Look at this balcony. This is like a dream home right here.
That's our dream home.
Yeah, just to have this view. The air is really fresh here. I mean, Lima, Peru is a really big city, but since you're right next to the ocean, the air is very clean. Typically, you have a lot of smog in big cities such as Bogota or Santiago. Some in Buenos Aires, we've been there recently, but the air feels very clean here, which is nice. I know that was a divergent in this video, but let's get back to some safety tips.
Nightlife. Take a magnesium supplement and go to bed at 9 p.m. It will be the best way to stay safe when in a dense city in Latin America.
In all seriousness, when participating in nightlife, whether you're going to the clubs or whatever you're doing, you need to take precautions, because if somebody's approaching you and trying to go home with you that night, you know, hookup culture does not exist in Latin America like it does in places like the United States. That is a recipe for you getting likely robbed, drugged, possibly even killed, and you need to be very cautious about that. Don't take any substances from people, not even a drink from behind the bar, because they could be working together trying to target gringos, for example. We know that has been a huge issue in places like Medellin. But it happens all over the world. So if you want to participate in nightlife, you need to go with some trusted friends. Make sure that you are not trying to be hooking up with people.
That goes especially for the passport bros. Don't wear your balls in your head. Because of your actions, you guys have become a target in Medellin, Colombia. And there's been many cases where guys have been drugged, robbed, and in some cases, killed.
Traffic rules. Now I know this is a temptation for me and anybody else, but when you get in traffic, your brain goes, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be sitting here for like 30 minutes, bored out of my mind. So what's the first thing we naturally do these days? We take our phones out, we start swiping through. But this is a perfect recipe to get robbed, because motorcyclists typically are gonna wanna come up to the window, either point a gun at you, take your stuff, or stick their hand in the window and snatch your phone out of your hand. Those are the exact moments that you have to really practice just being in the moment and letting it be, because some cities, they're not all equal, that you become a target because you're swiping on your phone while sitting in traffic. Here's a social media post in Medellin expats, one of the most contentious groups in the entire world. That somebody posted, has anyone here had the bad experience of being robbed lately? This was posted on
5 days ago.
5 days ago, so like April 29th or something. But if we read through some of the comments and we scroll through what people are saying, I mean, we got people saying all sorts of things, providing their testimonials of how they got robbed.
Here, got robbed twice in Medellin in a span of 1 month. Got robbed once in a nightclub in Laureles and once in Provenza. I also have a friend that was kidnapped.
In Laureles. It's very dangerous in Medellin right now. It's out of control and the police do little about it. I always tried to defend Colombia before, but I can no longer say Colombia is a safe place for tourists. They're targeting people. I've left Medellin and don't plan on going back. My friend isn't even going back either.
Someone said, kind of tired of this post. I was nervous to come to Medellin because of them, and I've been here over a month and I absolutely love this city. Be smart and use your head and you'll have a great time.
Use your common sense.
So the common denominator of a lot of these posts is nightlife and dating girls over dating apps or some other place. So you do need to be careful. And something that one of those posts mentions that is very important is that the police do not care. And that is very true. As Colombians, we do not trust the police institution. They more than likely would not do anything to take care of you. And if they don't do anything to take care of the locals, you being a tourist is not going to make any difference. Just because you are a cute looking white boy, it doesn't mean that they are going to go above and beyond to protect you or to help you in a circumstance of danger. So just keep that in mind.
That probably discourages you from wanting to go travel Colombia, but I think if you take more of the protocol that we have laid out in this video, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, if you look at posts in groups like these, people that, go for the nature, that have lived there years and years, but do not participate in crazy nightlife or crazy activities, have stayed safe and they have found Colombia, Medellin, other places, and a spectacular place to live.
Yeah, one last note. If you really want to participate in nightlife, make some friends with some real Colombians. Go to their parties at their houses, get invited. That's where it's going to be very safe and you're going to have a much better time because those people are going to want to have a real authentic connection with you. Of course, I have this advantage because my wife is from Bogota, Colombia, and when I married her, I didn't realize I was marrying into a family of 100+ people. And so there are plenty of parties that I get to go to where I feel completely safe, nothing's gonna happen. There's a lot of trust and respect among the family members, and they wanna get together and party, and they sometimes party crazy, which is an awesome aspect of Colombian culture. Earlier this year, in February 2024, there were quite a few different robberies at restaurants or near restaurants, outside of restaurants in Bogota, Colombia. One of the notable ones happened in Santa Barbara, which is a very famous touristy area, on Sunday in the middle of the afternoon. But it didn't actually happen in the restaurant. It was somebody outside of the restaurant waiting to get in, and they were wearing a Rolex that was visible. And a motorcyclist came by, noticed it, and robbed them with the guns, pointed a gun at them, and took off with the Rolex. Again, you shouldn't be wearing those things on the street, even if it's a nicer area, and that area is very nice. So this article just kind of describes that, and we've eaten at this restaurant, Abasto, multiple times, and it would be really difficult to actually rob that restaurant if you were inside of it. But you don't want to wear anything flashy because it's just going to draw attention to you and create the higher probability of you being robbed.
Overall, when visiting a place, whether is safe or dangerous, you need to be cautious and have a protocol.
For example, your life is not worth your technology. So if you are confronted in a situation where you are getting robbed, just give it up. Try to get your stuff backed up beforehand. Have a routine of backing up your stuff on your phone because that's what most people typically value on their devices. But be ready for that to strike at any moment in time.
When you get to a new location, try to have a protocol to get to know the area. Use Uber, taxis, walk without your phone or any belongings to try and get to know the area so you can make an assessment of how safe it is.
And again, not all places are equal, not all cities are equal, not all neighborhoods inside any given city are equal. And so you're gonna wanna scout places out, have a protocol, be cautious the very first time you show up to any place that's new, even if you perceive that it is a safe place. Thank you for watching. If you feel like there are any safety tips to add to this list of everything we just discussed, please comment below. But thanks for watching. See you next time.